so take a look at this video.
Amritpal Singh, this is what he's about. He's about waking up fools like me and saying, look, your life's not about work. It's not about just nonsense. It's not about the daily grind. It's about serving humanity. People are suffering in the world.
Now what this gentleman is saying might seem benign, righteous, and even emotional for someone who doesn't know. Like these nice people right here. But for the initiated, what this gentleman is actually trying to do is trying to justify an attack on India's High Commission in London by a terrorist movement. For those who might not be aware, recently there have been a series of attacks on Indians and Indian embassies in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia and the United States. These attacks have been carried out by the supporters of the Khalistan movement, aka Khalistanis, who seek to tear the state of Punjab from India and create an independent Sikh country for themselves called Khalistan. Like Al-Qaeda or Taliban, Khalistanis are also terrorists, backed by Pakistan's intelligence agency, the Inter-Service Intelligence, that is widely notorious for backing terrorism across the world. Think terrorism, think ISI. Frankly, that should be the tagline for Pakistan's intelligence. Okay, since the 80s and 90s, these Khalistanis committed several Taliban-style terrorist attacks across North India, including bombing of Air India 182 from Montreal to Bombay, killing 329 people, most of whom were Canadian citizens. These bombings of Air India in 1985 was considered as the deadliest incident of hijacking before 9/11 in 2001. After much effort, the Indian government was able to eliminate the Khalistani movement from Punjab, but not before losing one of India's Prime Ministers, Indira Gandhi, and countless Hindus and Sikhs in riots. However, despite such horror and violence, the Hindu and Sikh community in India managed to stick together through deep love and respect that both communities have for each other. This deep bond that Hindus and Sikhs share for each other continues till date. Although lately, there have been renewed efforts by Khalistanis and Pakistan's ISI to generate violence and hatred among Hindus and Sikhs in India. They do this by vandalizing Hindu temples, attacking Indians, and creating a social media disinformation campaign about India. Now, unlike the 80s, today these Khalistani terrorists are operating mostly in Western countries like Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. There they try to gain the sympathy of the citizens of those respective countries. Meanwhile, in India, they create an atmosphere of hate and violence. Therefore, as global citizens, it is important for all of us to understand this playbook that Khalistanis and Pakistan's intelligence are using to create violence against Indians all over the world. Okay, so after the Khalistani terror was decimated in India by mid-90s, many Punjabis who supported the movement moved to Canada and the United Kingdom. So while in India's Punjab, millennials and Gen Z grew up with their idea of united India and religious harmony, the Sikh diaspora in the West unfortunately grew up with hatred of India and dreams for a separate Sikh country. Now the Pakistani agents kept in touch with their Khalistani assets in Canada and the UK. They made sure to keep the idea of Khalistan alive among young diaspora through gurdwaras, that is a Sikh temple, Punjabi songs, and later social media disinformation. Meanwhile, these Pakistani intelligence officers kept on smuggling drugs into Indian Punjab, creating a very serious drug problem there. So what do you do when you live in a place where there is a rampant drug problem, no jobs and no future? You move out of that place. Same did the Punjabis do. They either moved to cities like Delhi or they moved abroad. And what is the only country where there is already a big Punjabi diaspora that also openly welcomes immigrants? Today there is a crazy trend among the young population in Punjab to move to Canada. Now, when the youth from Punjab went to countries like these, they came in contact with powerful Khalistani sympathizing Sikh diaspora, where some of them got deeply influenced by the idea of Khalistan, either through peer pressure or other propaganda tactics by ISI. Now, during this time, Punjabis weren't the only people moving out of India for work. Since the dot-com boom in the late 90s till today, many Indians from all over India immigrate to North America and UK seeking job opportunities in tech. This has led to India having the largest number of expats in the world. This immigration is also the reason why you see that so many CEOs of tech companies are of Indian origin. So in an effort to create disharmony between Sikhs and Indians in India as well as abroad, Pakistani agents disguised as Khalistanis vandalized Hindu temples in Western countries, hoping that the majority of Hindus in India as well as abroad attack Sikhs as revenge. Obviously, the ISI miserably fails at this again and again. But what needs to be understood is that the ISI is not doing all of this mischief just to create one single incident of violence. No. What they really want and hope is that these small tensions compound, leading to one massive explosion of violence in India. This compounding of violence is exactly what they try to do with Amritpal Singh, the guy for whom all of this is happening. While I'm making this video, Amritpal Singh is a fugitive from Punjab Police. The police is after Amritpal after he attacked a police station in Ajnala, Punjab. But this story doesn't start here. Over 6 months ago, Amritpal Singh suddenly popped up in Punjab in an orthodox religious outfit and style resembling that of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwala, a Khanistani militant who led the Khanistani movement in 80s and 90s. Amritpal talked about the widespread problem of drugs in Punjab and appealed to the people to leave bad habits and come back to Sikh religion. This made him a messiah to some. However, what was alarming was that Amritpal Singh also openly talked about having a referendum in Punjab to create a separate Sikh state of Khalistan.
Are you also vouching for a separate state?
Yeah, that's the idea of Khalistan.
An idea which is a big taboo in India. Even Bhindranwale, who is the original leader of Khalistan movement, never ever openly talked about Khalistan. And here was a young man who was a truck driver in Dubai until last year, openly talking about ripping a whole state from India. In the beginning, most people were curious and confused, but frankly, most of them did not care. They thought Amritpal to be one of many who create controversies to gain some clout. There are many people like this in India. It was only after that he attacked a police station that whole of India took notice of him. And as he ran away from the police, the news of this man's link with Pakistan's ISI and his plans to make a militia to overthrow the Indian government from Punjab were revealed. And this is where it gets interesting. So this whole plan starts in 2021 when Pakistan's ISI started increasing the smuggling of guns, grenades and drugs into Punjab using drones. During this time, they also started using their Khalistani agents in Punjab to create fear and tensions in the state by conducting low-level bomb blasts, RPG attacks and disrespecting Sikh religious sentiments. Meanwhile, outside India, they tried to increase tensions between Sikhs and Hindus by vandalizing Hindu temples and harassing Indians abroad, thus creating an illusion that Hindus and Sikhs are in conflict with each other, hoping that this would lead to tensions in reality as well. While all of this was going on, sometime after February 2022, the ISI recruited Amritpal Singh, a truck driver in Dubai who was already hypnotized by the idea of Khalistan from Punjabi actor turned activist Sidhu. Amritpal was groomed, trained and even sent to Georgia to have a plastic surgery to look like Bhindranwale, after which he was dropped in Punjab in August 2022 to exploit the drug problem and religious tensions already engineered by Pakistan. This is the real story, and needless to say, once again, ISI has failed. The love and unity among Hindus and Sikhs is strong as ever. Before ending, let me also quickly tell you the social media disinformation campaign that ISI and Khalistanis have been using to spread their propaganda. This is important to know because today Khalistan movement is mostly active on social media. And apart from creating tensions, Khalistanis have also been known to ask for sympathy and donations from innocent, ignorant people for their sinister cause. Okay, so Khalistan's social media strategy is divided into two parts. One part is for Sikh only, who they want to recruit and keep them inspired for their cause. And the second part is for white people, from whom they want support and sympathy. Among the Sikh community, they use a typical Trump-style right-wing narrative. They say things like Indian deep state is trying to finish the Sikh religion. They want to take over the Golden Temple and make it a Hindu temple. And the only way for Sikh religion to survive today is to take up guns and create a separate country for themselves.
This is not an attack on Amritpal Singh. This is not an attack on Jarnail Singh in the past. This is an attack on our Sikhi. They're trying to kill our Sikhi. And the one thing we can all do is just live Sikhi. And they will hate that. That Sikhi is still growing and that more Sikhs are still coming in.
They respect, they show themselves as being respectful to Sikhi because they claim that Sikhi is a branch of Hinduism. Right? And their eye is on a Harmandir Sahib. They want to occupy our Harmandir Sahib and make it into a Hindu mandir. That's what they want to do.
ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਨਸਲ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਚਿਰ ਗਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂਤ ਪੀਤ ਕੇ ਡਰਾਮਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੀ ਐਤਕੀ ਜਿੱਲੇ ਲੜਾਈ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਨਾ ਗੁਜਰਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੜਾਈ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਲੜਾਈ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜਾਓ ਹੁਣ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂਤ
Now what is interesting is that when these people talk about creating a separate Sikh state, they only talk about making Khalistan from Indian Punjab and not Pakistan's Punjab, which is not only bigger in size from India, but it also has many important religious places for Sikhs as well. And trust me, they'll never do because they'll lose the only patron they have. Now, for the Western media, the Khalistani narrative is typical left liberal. They try to project that India is committing massive human rights violation in Punjab. They use slogans like Sikh Lives Matter in the style of Black Lives Matter to gather attention and sympathy from left media. Let me give you an example. When recently British MP Bob Blackman openly called out these Khalistani terrorists in the British Parliament.
Now, the clear position here is that Khalistani militants were operating across the world. Canada, United States and Australia had similar attacks over the weekend. So we are harbouring Khalistani terrorists in this country right now. So can we have a debate in government time on what action we can take to ensure these terrorists are held to account and banned in this country?
This was the Khalistani response.
This is devastating to hear from a UK Member of Parliament, especially at a time where racial hate crime was on the rise. This kind of rhetoric undermines the values of unity, diversity and inclusivity.
Hogwash. In this video, let me also take the opportunity to make something very, very clear. India is not a fascist country and there is no genocide going on here. The democratic institutes of India are robust and working and people have faith in them. This is not to say we don't have any problems. Don't even get me started there. India is the world's largest, most diverse and most complex democracy. The problems that we have here cannot be imagined by most of the countries in the world, whose politics is mostly a variation of black and white. And unlike some other countries, we don't hide our imperfections. We openly call out our problems, look them straight in the eye, roll up our sleeves and fix it. Because that is the Indian way. Thank you everyone for coming over to my vlog and I will see you soon.